Hey, what's up, guys? This is Grayson Nichols. I play as the Dean221 online, and I am here today to share with you a hand against one of my friends and one of the better poker players I know, Daniel Strelitz. Deoxyribo online and WPT Champion. So let's check out the hand that Daniel and I played. So this is a few years back. Tournament was a $5,000 buy-in, and it was the 10 million guarantee tournament that the Hard Rock put on. Very ambitious guarantee, which I believe fell a couple million short. So we were sitting there with $2 million in overlay. Pretty awesome field. Tournaments in South Florida get a lot of major soft spots, ton of action. People like to gamble. So the tournament was great. We were near the end of day one, I believe an hour and a half left in the day. We started 30,000 chips. I was up to about 70. Blinds were 600, 1,200 when the following hand happened. So Daniel is sitting on my right. I am directly to his left, like I said, with 70K. And I pick up pocket kings. So there's a few things that I do wrong in this hand, and this is a hand that has haunted me for years, but I like to use this hand as an example for my students to learn from. There's a couple things in here in particular that I think can be really helpful for you guys. The first issue that I have with my play is my 3-bet that I do right off the bat. Now, this can go either way. The worst thing I did is at the end of the hand, which I'm excited to tell you guys about. But here, let's focus on the 3-bet. So as the hand starts, Daniel opens under the gun to 2,400, and I choose the 3-bet next to him with kings. So I think this play is fine. I think it's straightforward. I think my sizing should be a bit bigger, probably closer to at least 8K. On top of that, though, one of my issues with this is I don't like my 3-bet based solely on the fact that Daniel knows me, right? And he knows I'm solid. And with him raising under the gun and me being under the gun +1, it doesn't strike me as a spot where it looks like I would be 3-bet bluffing him a lot. So I don't really like the concept of 3-betting him for value with my aces and kings and queens and ace-king in a spot where I just wouldn't ever have bluffs in my range either, right? So what I would do in this spot now, if I played this hand again, I would most likely just flat the 2,400. And my hopes would be that one of these other guys, a lot of really good, tough, aggressive regulars that were behind me, might squeeze, might make it something like 9 or 10,000 to go. And the action would get back to me, and I would get an awesome spot to back raise. So that's probably what I would do now. But unfortunately, not what I did. So I chose to 3-bet. And when the action comes back to Daniel, I believe he's going to have a really straightforward call with almost his entire range, because the issue now is that I think I've made it abundantly clear what my hand is. I think that he knows I have aces, kings, queens, jacks, ace-king, maybe ace-queen suited. That's kind of it. And seeing in hindsight how he has ace-queen, I'm sure he was thinking ace-king plus, jacks plus. So if Daniel's sitting there with a hand like 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks, even 8-9 suited, 9-10 suited. These hands are pretty easy calls for him because I gave him a good price, and I'm again kind of playing my hand face up. So he knows I have a good hand, and he's willing to call with some of these hands to try to crack my big hands. So I think his range to flatten me here looks something like 6s through jacks, maybe even queens, to be honest. I'm not sure if he would 4-bet me with queens since he viewed me to be pretty solid. So I think his range would look a lot like 6s through jacks, maybe queens, ace-10 suited, ace-jack suited, ace-queen off, king-queen suited, and then maybe some 8-9 suited, 9-10 suited, stuff like that. So that's right off the bat what I'm thinking his flat range is going to look like. So action folds to Daniel, who does indeed call. And we get a flop of jack 10, 8 rainbow. So, not the best flop for the range that we just assessed him, right? 8s, 10s, jacks, all of those are in his range. Jack 10 suited. Hands like 8-9 suited will have an immense amount of equity, right? And not only that, but if we were to c-bet here, he might have a really sweet spot to check raise semi-bluff us with king-queen or ace-queen. And if we were to bet around like 7K here and he made it 22,000, I don't like any of my options, unfortunately. So because of that, I decided to check back. Pot control, deception would both work in my favor. But most importantly, I knew Daniel was a tricky player, and I didn't want to give him a chance to check raise me in a spot where I was uncomfortable calling, raising, or folding, to be honest. So turn's okay. It's an 8. Again, I don't think he has a ton of 8s in his range. He has pocket 8s, obviously. And then he's going to have 8-9 suited. That's about it. So I'm not too worried about that. He bets here. I happily call the 8K. And the river is a blank 4. So Daniel checks to me here. This is a spot where now that he checks, my thinking immediately was this. I go, I have the best hand, so I need to value bet here. Okay? And I also thought he didn't have a strong hand, so I didn't want to value bet too much. So the hand played out and you saw the ending, unfortunately. Basically, my thinking was, let's bet 13K. Get value from maybe 9s, ace 10, ace jack, stuff like that, right? Well, unfortunately, Daniel, as you saw right there, decided to check raise on the river. And he made it 30K. I believe 32,000 was the amount that he made it over my 13K. And he left himself 15,000 back. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, well, this spot really stinks. And I had no one to blame but myself because of my sizing that I allowed him the opportunity to make this play anyway, right? But now that we're here, what do I do? So my thinking was that his value range looks like 8-8, 10-10, jack-jack, 8-9 suited. And then his bluff range looks something like ace-queen, king-queen, right? I'm blocking king-queen pretty heavily with my kings, right? So that's going to knock out a lot of his bluff combos here. Having said that, it's still a situation where I believe that Daniel knows I'm smart, knows how I think, and he thinks he can make me fold hands like aces and kings here because he knows he reps more of the value hands than he does the bluffs. And I think he made an excellent bluff. I made a big fold. In hindsight, I actually ran through the hand with a friend of mine, and it seems that I should have barely made the call anyway, and that there were enough bluffs in his range with the king, queen, ace, queen to justify the value hands that I'd be losing to, 8s, 10s, jacks, 8-9 suited. But I think the issue here isn't what do I do on the river once Daniel makes this exceptional, once in a year type play. It's why did I let him make this play in the first place? And that's where I want you all to take advice and take an extra 15 to 20 seconds every time you're in a spot like this. And my thinking is that if I had, instead of betting 13,000 on that river, if I had bet 20,000, Daniel would no longer have the option of a raise fold as a bluff here. It would either be check raising all in or calling or folding. So if I had simply bet 7,000 more in that spot, I would have taken away this excellent play that Daniel ended up making on me. So be thoughtful with your bets. Think what you want to accomplish. In those few times that you're up against really creative opponents who are capable of doing stuff like that, take the time and think about it before you allow them to put you in a bad spot. So, hope you guys enjoyed that video. That hand took several years off my life. Daniel, if you're somehow seeing this, thank you for bluffing me. I was annoyed that evening, but now I've learned a lot from it, and it's helped me in the future. So, hope you guys enjoyed that hand. Best of luck at the tables, everyone.